So let us see today's topic. What does it contain? Now, the main learning outcomes of this lesson will be the working principle of eye. Now, there are several techniques on which the principle of working of the eye depends. So, the first is refraction, and next comes accommodation or adjustment. Now, next we will be studying about binocular vision or stereoscopic vision. This I think you have studied a bit in 8th standard. Next comes photoreception, and last but not the least is the color vision. Now let us start with the working principle of the eye. Now here in this working principle of the eye, we will first see this diagram. Now here we can see we have placed an object over here. Now light rays are passing from this object through the cornea to the eye, interior of the eye. So here the cornea is acting as a clear front window. So as through the window the light enters, here also through the eye, the cornea, the light is entering inside the eye. Then here is the liquid part, aqueous humor, where the light is getting little bit refracted. So already in physics we have studied about reflection and refraction. So let us be a little bit clear. Now when light passes from one medium to another medium, the light has a tendency of refraction. So in this aqueous humor it is refracting a little bit. Then it passes through it bends and it passes freely through the opening pupil in the iris, center of the iris. You know this pupil is there, it passes through it and it enters the eye. Here again there is a refraction because there is a fluid called vitreous humor, and then it passes directly to the retina. Now iris is working mostly as the shutter of a camera. Now as in the previous videos I have already told you how the pupil is shrinking when it is exposed to bright light, and it is expanding or it is becoming bigger in size when it is exposed to dim light. So please go through my previous video if you are not clear about this till now. Now then the inverted image is formed in the retina, and this part is called the fovea centralis. Now let us see what more is there in this process of refraction. Now here you see after passing through the iris, after it is passing through the iris, there is a natural crystalline lens. This clear and flexible lens is also almost similar to that of the camera, but like the lens of the camera, the shortening and lengthening is to focus the light properly. Now it is also shrinking, shortening and lengthening as it is tied to the ciliary muscles and bodies. They will pull it and they will release it to make it straight and make it loose. So as we adjust the lens of the camera, like that only our eyes also adjust this lens so that a nice image is formed in the focus properly. Now you can see this image which is formed over here is inverted, but it is a real image. Now light rays are passing through this transparent jelly like substance also, and this substance is also giving this eye a shape. Now here already an image is formed. Now what will happen to this image? Let us see that. Now this image what is formed over here, in normal eye it is focused in the retina, and the retina, which is acting actually as the film of a camera, it is responsible of capturing all the light rays and processing them through the light impulses to millions of tiny nerve endings, and they are sending the light impulses through millions of nerve fibers to the optic nerve. Now the optic nerve is carrying it to the brain, where we will see a straight and nice image of what we wanted to see. Okay, so is it clear? I think it's clear with everyone. The image, how it is formed, the light rays are coming, it's getting refracted from the cornea, then to the iris, then to the vitreous humor, then to retina. An inverted image is formed, which is through millions and millions of nerve fibers is carrying through the optic nerve. The impulse is carrying through the brain, where we can see the actual image and we can see the proper image what we are viewing. Is it clear, everyone? So let us move on to the next one. Now, next to refraction comes the accommodation process. Now, this accommodation word means adjusting. Now, in a normal eye, what will happen? An object at a distance of almost 6 meters also would be in a perfect focus in this retina. If you are having any problem in your eye or lenses, or there is any difficulties in observing any object, that is different. But in a normal eye, an object at a distance of 6 meters away will have a perfect focus on the retina. Now, this process of focusing by the eye from a different distance is called accommodation. So, what is it? It is focusing of the substance or focusing by the eye of different distances is called accommodation. Now, this accommodation is actually brought by adjusting of this elastic lens, making it thinner or thicker. Now, here you can see that it is in distance when it is observing a distant object. Now, this is observation of a distant object. Now, here you can see the muscles, ciliary muscles are relaxed and the lens becomes flatter or thinner. Now, this is a thin kind of lens due to stretching of the suspensory ligaments. Ciliary muscles relaxed and the suspensory ligaments are stretching, and the lens has become thin to focus at the distant object, so that the focus point should be in the retina. Now, next next you can see that in this the ciliary muscles contract, pulling the choroid forward, and here the lens has become almost convex in shape and thickened due to its elastic nature, and due to the suspensory ligaments are released. Here the suspensory ligaments were stretched, ciliary muscles were relaxed, and here the same thing is opposite. Now, here the ciliary muscles are stretched, the suspensory ligaments are released, and the lens becomes more convex. So, in normal condition, the ciliary muscles are always in relaxed condition and the lens remains stretched to the suspensory ligaments. Now, thus it is called convex and best suited for distant vision. Now, so our eyes are always best suited for distant vision. Now, this is, I think this is clear, accommodation. Now, let us move on to the next slide. Now, in this slide, we will be discussing about convergence and binocular vision. So, what is it? Now, we all know that we are having two eyes, but only one image is visible through the eyes. Now, let us see here in the diagram. We are having two eyes. Now, if we are focusing two objects in the fovea centralis, what will happen? We will have a double vision. We will see two objects. Okay, so as we are having two eyes, but though it is two in number, we will see only one image. So this is called binocular vision. What happens while we are seeing any object? Both the eyeballs will move towards that object, and both the images fall on the corresponding fovea centralis of both the retinas, which overlap each other. They will overlap each other, and this is called convergence. So what is happening? So both the light rays are coming from the images. Both of them are coming at the fovea centralis of both the retinas, and they are overlapping each other. So with this, both the eyes, we are seeing only one tree, that is converging on this tree. Both the light rays are converging on this tree, and we are seeing only one tree. Whereas if these are having a parallel image, if they are not converging, we will see two different images of two trees. So that is called visual axis. Both the visual axis is parallel, and that is, we will see double vision. So this is binocular vision, and this is called the double vision, when two images of tree is seen. Here the images are converging and we are seeing only one tree, so that is called the binocular fusion or binocular vision. Now let us see in the next slide, we will discuss about photoreception. Now, what are photoreceptors? I have told that the rod cell, this is a rod cell and this is a cone cell, and these are called photoreceptors. Now, the image which is formed at the retina is stimulating these two photoreceptors. These two photoreceptors are having some chemical changes which are generating the nerve impulse, which I have told already in the previous slide, which travels through the optic nerve, which reaches the visual area of the cerebrum, and there the sensation of sight is interpreted. Is it clear? Now in this slide we will discuss about the comparison about the rods and cone cells. Now in the previous slide we have already discussed how are these photoreceptors working, though the details mechanism of their working is not there in your syllabus. So we have just gone through it, that we know that some chemical changes are happening in the rods and cones, which are being impulses are being taken through the optic nerve to our cerebrum to create a visual impact. Now let us see what are rod cells and what are cone cells and what are their main differences. Now if we take about the location in the retina, we will see that rod cells are mainly present in the periphery region, whereas the cone cells are in the center region or the fovea centralis part. Rod cells, I have told, they are responsible for dim light, and cone cells for the bright light or the day vision. Now the visual acuity in the rod cells, it is very low resolution. Like many rods are one bipolar cell and one cone is one bipolar cell. Now here the color sensitivity, all wavelengths have the color sensitivity in rod cells, whereas certain wavelengths like red, green and blue colors are only seen or visible through cone cells. And the type of vision in rod cells is black and white, and cone cells help us to see the different types of colors. Now rod cells contain rhodopsin, whereas three different iodopsin, mainly the red, green and blue color iodopsin, are present in cone cells. And rod cells are present many in abundance, and the cone cells are very few. Now here in this slide we will be comparing between the human eye and the camera. Now this is actually directly not present in your portions, but I think according to me you should know the difference, as eye is also acting as a camera. It should not be like omitted from your portions, and you should know how does an eye work and how does a camera work. So the action of the eye or the working principle of the eye, how it is similar to that of a camera, should be known. So here let us see the image focused on the eye by the eye lens is onto the retina, where what is happening in case of camera, it is being focused by the convex lens as in eye to the film. Now here in aspect of eye, we can see the thickness of the lens needs to be changed to enable the lens. We have seen with the help of the suspensory ligaments and the ciliary body, the lens is being thickened, or it is being becoming thinner in shape to focus a sharp image into the retina. So thickness of the lenses are changed in our eyes. Whereas in camera, the lens needs to be moved nearer to or further away from the film to focus sharp images onto the film. So this we know, when we are focusing on the image, we will change the lens. It is either being moved towards or further away. Now the focal length in case of eye of the lens is changed, while the distance between the lens and the retina is always constant. You can't change the distance between the lens and the retina. Can we change the lens and the retina distance? No, it's impossible. But the distance here between the film and the lens is changed. Okay, therefore the distance between the film and the lens is changed in camera. Now here we can see with the help of a figure how the eye is focusing in the retina in the fovea centralis region, the image of an object, and how the camera is focusing. So the lens is to be moved further from the film. Here if it is the roll or the film, the lens is moved further away from the film to focus this near object. Whereas the lens here, it is adjusted, it becomes thicker, it is becoming thicker with the contraction and the relaxation of the ciliary muscles. So the ciliary muscles here are contracting and the suspensory ligaments are relaxing to make the lens of the eyes thicker, and thus it is focused here. So here it is the comparison between the human eye and camera. Now let us see what is in the next slide for us. Now in this slide we will discuss about dark and light adaptation. Now let us see here, I have written it very clearly that in dark the rate of photopigments formation by the rod cells is much faster than the rate at which they are broken down. Now we know that two photoreceptors, rods and cones are there. So one is rod cells, another one is cone cells. The rod cells are having photopigments called rhodopsin, whereas the cone cells are having iodopsin. Now here the rod cell formation is much faster than the rate at which they are broken down. Now if you remember in the previous video I have discussed about the dilating of the pupils when we are viewing any object in dim light. So this is called the dark adaptation, when the pupils are dilating to allow more light to enter to the retina. Now in presence of bright light, for a long period of time, the light sensitive pigments of rods are broken down and the visual purple of the rods get bleached, reducing their sensitivity. Now the pupils, when they constrict and the size of the pupil is reduced, to reduce the amount of light entering in case of bright light. So this is called light adaptation. Okay, so this one is called light adaptation, and when we are dilating our pupil to get it adjusted to view the objects in dark or dim light, it is called dark adaptation, and this is called light adaptation. Now next comes color vision. Now here in this slide we will discuss about color vision. So what is it? I have told earlier that due to the presence of cone cells, color vision is possible. Now when all cone cells are stimulated, what will happen? We will see white color. When a very few cone cells are stimulated, we are seeing black color, and when separate types of cone cells are produced, stimulated, it produces red, green or blue and their combinations. Now there I have given a diagram of color vision. Now those who are colorblind person, they will not be able to view the letter inside written inside this. So what are the numbers inside this? I can say that it is 45 written inside this different color combination. So what are the three main colors over here? That is green, blue and red. So as we have seen or told that the color pigments, like mostly prime color pigments like red, green and blue and their combinations, are stimulation of separate types of cone cells. So these are producing vision to these three colors. Now those persons who are having problem in their cone cells, they will not be able to view this colors differently. They'll either see it fully red or green or blue. So the distinction or the separation between these three different colors will not be visible by them. So in that case, we will see that these people are color blind. So if you are able to read this, you are having a normal vision or your vision is perfect. So the numbers written inside it is 45. Is it clear? So in higher classes, you will be studying about one Snell's chart. So that helps us to detect the color vision in a person. So if you are going to a person, a doctor, he will be testing your vision through this chart, color vision through this chart, whether you can identify the colors properly or not. So this is all in gist about all the topics mostly covered in eye. And next, in the next videos, we will be discussing about a few defects of eye like myopia, hypermetropia, eye astigmatism, presbyopia and all. So that is the part 3 of eye we will be discussing. So till then, please go through all this videos. All the things should be very much clear, so that when you start with the next defects and their correction, you should be very much clear about the working principle of eye, about color vision, about light and dark adaptation, about the binocular vision and all. And if you are having any doubts and queries, please do write in my comment box. Thank you.